Have you ever wondered if the stories we know best are hiding the patterns we never see? On the evening of June 17, 1994, as dusk fell over Los Angeles, millions of Americans tuned in, not for the NBA Finals, not for the World Cup, but for a slow-motion chase that turned the city into a stage and every living room into a front-row seat. O.J. Simpson, former football legend, Hollywood icon, the face you'd see on Hertz commercials, all-American hero, now the most wanted man in America. But behind the endless news coverage, the wall-to-wall analysis, and that iconic white Bronco inching down the 405, there's a secret pattern few have ever noticed, a blueprint of escape so intricate it almost defies belief. This isn't just the story of a man running from the law. This is the story of how America's shadow, its denial, obsession, and hunger for spectacle, created the perfect cover for a fugitive to slip away right in front of everyone. According to a 1994 Nielsen study, an estimated 95 million Americans watched the chase live. That's more than the Super Bowl that year. Think about it. Nearly half the country, eyes glued to a slow-moving car, hypnotized. But what if I told you there's a secret psychological pattern, almost like a ritual hidden beneath every headline, every camera angle, every commercial break that night? A pattern that didn't just let O.J. escape. It turned his escape into America's most watched magic trick. Why did the LAPD allow a murder suspect to call the shots? How did O.J.'s closest friends and family become pawns then accomplices in a nationwide spectacle? And why, even decades later, do we still remember the Bronco, but forget the strings that pulled the whole thing off? Here's the secret. O.J. Simpson didn't just run. He used America's own obsession, celebrity, denial, race, and live TV as the getaway car. He didn't need a gun or a disguise or a dark alley. He just needed us to watch. And the more we watched, the safer he became. If you think this is just about O.J., think again. According to recent research from the American Psychological Association, public fascination with live criminal events follows a ritualized cycle. Shock, suspense, spectacle, collective amnesia. This cycle, researchers say, doesn't just distract us. It can be used as cover for acts we'd never tolerate in the light of day. But here's where it gets chilling. O.J. didn't invent this pattern. He just rode the wave. He let the country turn him into both villain and victim, while he became invisible inside the world's brightest spotlight. In Eastern tradition, karma means every action leaves a mark. Every escape casts a new shadow. In Jungian psychology, the shadow is what we hide, what we deny, but also what controls us from behind the scenes. O.J.'s escape is both, a ritual America performs again and again, fascinated by the chase, haunted by what we refuse to face. So what exactly was O.J. running from? And what was America running toward? Tonight, we break down the secret pattern behind O.J. Simpson's escape you've never heard, the blueprint that turned a chase into a myth, a crime into a ritual, and a country into its own accomplice. Stay with me. Let's be honest, if this was just about a man in a car running from the police, the world would have flipped the channel. But this was O.J. Simpson, America's own myth in the flesh. And what happened on June 17 wasn't an accident. It was a ritual. According to a landmark media study by the Pew Research Center, the O.J. chase marks the birth of real-time, all-consuming news spectacle in America, a blueprint for everything from high-speed chases to reality TV and viral live streams. But why do we care so much? Why do we tune in, transfixed for hour after hour, unable to look away, even when we know we should? Here's what the experts say. According to Dr. Drew Weston, a professor of psychology and author of The Political Brain, live public spectacles tap straight into our fight-or-flight circuits. It's not just news, it's personal. Our hearts pound, our brains light up, our bodies react as if we're the ones being chased. It's a dopamine cocktail served live. But there's a darker side. Recent research from the University of Southern California found that when millions of people focus on a single dramatic event, a psychological phenomenon called collective shadowing takes hold. We project our fears, our hopes, our secrets onto a single figure. O.J. became more than O.J., he became America's shadow. Think about it. He was a black man once hailed as transcending race, now accused of the crime of the century. He was a hero now cast as villain and at times a victim. And America couldn't look away because it wasn't just O.J. on the freeway. It was the country chasing itself. According to Jungian psychologist Dr. James Hollis, public rituals like the Bronco chase allow societies to outsource their darkest conflicts, race, fame, justice, guilt onto a single story, a single face. For one night, everyone had a role. The hero, the villain, the bystanders, the hunters, and the hunted. Here's the pattern. As the chase unfolded, something strange happened. LAPD received hundreds of calls from fans begging them not to hurt OJ. On overpasses, strangers held up banners, "Run, Juice, run!" On TV, anchors flipped between outrage and empathy, sometimes in the same breath. It was as if the city itself became a stage for America's collective shadow, a dance of denial and spectacle. A new study from the American Journal of Sociology suggests that in times of national stress, societies create protective denial, a shared refusal to face uncomfortable truths. The more dangerous the reality, the more desperate the denial. On June 17, 1994, America didn't want a murderer, it wanted a legend. So it gave OJ the biggest stage and the biggest blind spot in the world. But here's the twist. That denial became the perfect cover for escape. Police hesitated, afraid of turning the chase into a bloodbath on live TV. Friends like Al Cowling stepped in, acting as both protectors and enablers. Reporters followed the Bronco instead of investigating the shadowy deals being made behind the scenes. According to LAPD records, the decision to let OJ run bought him nearly 2 hours and created dozens of opportunities to manipulate the narrative, make phone calls, and possibly even coordinate his next moves. So was this chaos an accident? Or was it by design the oldest trick in the book, letting the spectacle distract, while the real escape happens in the shadows? In the next section, we'll dissect the pattern within the pattern. The secret allies, the unseen phone calls, the moments of sleight of hand that let O.J. Simpson become the only fugitive protected by America's denial. But before we go deeper, here's the twist almost no one talks about. O.J. Simpson's escape wasn't a one-man show. It was a team performance, half public, half secret, choreographed across dozens of invisible threads. You've seen the headlines about the Bronco, the crowd, the police. But beneath it all, there's a shadow network, a secret pattern of enablers, distractions, and legal loopholes that turned a fugitive into a folk hero. Let's break it down. According to an LA Times investigative report, the night of the chase, at least 10 separate phone calls were made between OJ, his legal team, and family members, some routed through disposable cell phones to avoid police wiretaps. It's documented that at least one lawyer even advised OJ in real time on how to avoid incriminating himself, all while millions watched, clueless. But the shadow network ran deeper than lawyers. Al Cowlings, OJ's longtime friend, wasn't just the driver. He was the human shield, negotiator, and, as police records later revealed, the man who phoned ahead to warn OJ's mother, helping OJ orchestrate a goodbye call that became the emotional centerpiece of the chase. According to recent research by the University of California, high-profile escape cases almost always feature access facilitators, friends, family, or even fans who provide cover, resources, and most importantly, distraction. Think of Ted Bundy's infamous courthouse escape, 1977, or the more recent case of El Chapo Guzman's prison break in Mexico. Each escape made possible by accomplices both inside and out. But here's where the OJ case gets uniquely American. The line between ally and bystander, between enabling and merely watching, was blurred by the power of live television. OJ's defense dream team wasn't just prepping legal arguments behind closed doors. They were, in effect, producing a real-time public relations campaign, phoning into networks, controlling what information leaked, shaping the story while the story unfolded. According to a 2020 Harvard media study, the very act of watching an event unfold in real time changes the outcome. Police hesitated to escalate force, afraid their every move would spark a riot on national TV. Fans who witnessed the chase from the overpasses became part of the story, emboldening OJ and further slowing the police. The spectacle became the shield. Here's the kicker. While America was transfixed by the chase, OJ wasn't just running, he was negotiating. Phone records and police logs later revealed a parallel set of demands unfolding behind the scenes. OJ wanted to call his mother and children. He demanded police allow him to return to his home before surrendering. He insisted the news cameras remain rolling. Every delay was a negotiation tactic stretching out time, buying space, turning the chase from a pursuit into a performance. In many Eastern traditions, rituals exist to conceal what's too difficult to face directly: grief, shame, guilt. Here, the ritual of the televised chase gave everyone, OJ, police, even the public, permission to play their part without fully acknowledging what was at stake. According to Dr. Robert Thompson, media scholar at Syracuse University, America needed this spectacle to be about anything but loss. And in that space, OJ found his escape hatch. And then, the ultimate sleight of hand while the country stared at a white Bronco inching through Los Angeles. The real pattern unfolded in plain sight. Legal team prepping surrender terms. LAPD orchestrating a soft landing to avoid a televised tragedy. Crowds outside the house creating chaos and noise perfect for confusion. According to later LAPD reports, when OJ finally arrived home, more than 400 police and news personnel were outside enough chaos for a small army to disappear in. In the end, OJ was captured. But was justice? Or did the country's collective denial and the shadow cast by the spectacle allow the real escape to happen right in front of us? In the next section, we'll unravel how the aftermath of the chase became even stranger, and how this ritual pattern has repeated, with new faces, again and again in America. But first, if you've ever struggled with focus and routines in a world full of distractions, you'll want to check out the tool I personally recommend. As we've seen, true crime stories and high-profile escapes pull us in with suspense and adrenaline, sometimes leaving our minds on edge long after the headlines fade. All those live broadcasts, relentless coverage, and twists in the story can leave you feeling tense, restless, maybe even a little lost in the noise. That's why I'm thrilled to recommend two calming reads you can find right now on Amazon. A luxury item called Me is for anyone who needs a gentle pause, a set of self-care rituals to bring you back to center, even when life feels chaotic. And if you crave a quick emotional story that balances the darkness with hope, Just Hear Me Out is a short, suspenseful novella that soothes as much as it stirs. So, if you need a break after this deep dive, scroll down, click the link below, and treat yourself to a pocket of peace. Both books are on Amazon. Choose the one your mind needs most. What happened after the chase might be even stranger than the chase itself. As dawn broke over Los Angeles on June 18, 1994, the city was left in a kind of trance. It felt like a national hangover, numb, exhausted, and weirdly relieved. The spectacle was over, but the shadow it cast was only beginning to spread. According to Gallup polling at the time, 60% of Americans said they watched or followed the chase live. But in the weeks that followed, public opinion split into warring camps. Was OJ a guilty man on the run, or a hero hounded by fame and the justice system? And that's when the pattern began to repeat itself. America, gripped by the shadow of the chase, entered a cycle that would soon become all too familiar on screen, in headlines, even in viral moments today. Let's break down the blueprint. Step 1. The ritual of denial. According to a 2019 Columbia University study, when confronted with overwhelming public trauma, societies instinctively shift into denial rituals, distracting themselves with entertainment, gossip, and debates about side issues, rather than facing uncomfortable truths. This collective avoidance didn't just protect OJ. It protected the country's sense of itself. It was easier to debate glove sizes and DNA evidence than to look directly at pain of loss, of racial tension, of betrayal by a hero. Step 2. The loop of repetition. According to Pew Research, the OJ spectacle became a media template. Anytime a new celebrity or criminal case hit the airwaves, Casey Anthony, Scott Peterson, the Murdaugh family, even viral TikTok courtroom moments. The ritual returned: shock, chase, spectacle, amnesia. In a strange way, OJ set the standard for escape as entertainment. He wasn't just running from the police, he was running into history. Step 3. The new enablers. Fast forward. Today's escape artists have a whole new set of secret allies. Social media, viral moments, influencers, and citizen journalists. The ritual has gone digital. According to a 2023 MIT Media Lab analysis, the social web creates escape velocity. If you can control the narrative, you can turn pursuit into myth and crisis into content. Step 4. The psychological shadow grows. Jungian analysts like Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes argue that when a society refuses to face its shadow, it grows stronger. Every viral chase, every public denial is an invitation for the pattern to repeat, sometimes with different faces, but always with the same blueprint. America's true escape isn't from police, but from reckoning with its own unresolved traumas. Racial wounds, the price of fame, the power of media to shape reality. The OJ case didn't just create a template for escape. It left a legacy, a ritual of public shadow that we keep performing, even if the names change. But what about justice? What about healing? According to a new study from the Stanford Center on Justice, the more often this pattern repeats, the harder it becomes for real closure, either for victims, for the public, or even for those at the center of the spectacle. Here's the shadow nobody wants to see. The more we watch, the more we become part of the ritual. The more we argue, the more the shadow grows. Have you ever wondered if by tuning in, we're not just witnesses but accomplices? That maybe the pattern needs us just as much as OJ did. In a world where every escape becomes a live event, who's really running? And what are we all running from? In the final section, we'll tie it all together. The secret karma of spectacle, the blueprint for healing, if there is one. The final twist, what O.J. Simpson's escape really tells us about America's shadow and ourselves. Stay with me. Let's step back, strip away the headlines, the legal arguments, the memes, the endless replays. What remains? According to Dr. Mark Freeman, a leading narrative psychologist, when a nation refuses to process its deepest traumas, it creates rituals of avoidance patterns so powerful they outlive any one person or story. The O.J. Simpson chase became America's ritual of denial. Every camera, every voice, every cheer, and every argument became part of a national shadow performance. It was never just about O.J., it was about us, about what we want to see, what we refuse to see, and how spectacle soothes the pain of truth. So what is the secret pattern, the blueprint behind O.J. Simpson's escape? First, the escape wasn't just physical, it was psychological, cultural, almost mythological. According to Jungian theory, the shadow is everything we hide, not just the darkness in people like O.J., but the darkness in our institutions, our obsessions, our need to believe in heroes and scapegoats. O.J.'s escape was built on a country's willingness to look away, to make noise, to debate endlessly, anything but look straight at the wound. And the more we did, the more room there was for him to slip through. Second, the karma of spectacle. In Eastern philosophy, karma isn't just punishment for wrongdoing. It's a cycle that repeats until it's seen, acknowledged, and finally healed. But America's pattern hasn't healed, it's just evolved. Every time we tune in for the next chase, the next trial, the next viral controversy, we're reenacting the ritual. The shadow grows. The pattern deepens. Third, the real cost isn't just to the people at the center, O.J., Nicole, Ron Goldman, the families, the bystanders. It's to all of us. According to a 2024 Pew study, media-driven spectacles correlate with spikes in public anxiety, depression, and a growing sense of cynicism, especially among Gen Z and millennials, who have grown up inside this endless loop. But here's the twist, one last sleight of hand. Every pattern, no matter how dark, contains the possibility for awakening. Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." What if O.J.'s escape wasn't just a moment of national shame, but an invitation to finally break the cycle? To ask, what are we running from? Whose wounds are we ignoring? What would healing actually look like if we stopped performing and started reflecting? Maybe that's the real pattern behind every escape. The more we chase shadows, the more we become trapped in them. But the moment we pause, turn inward, and face what hurts, something changes. We write new stories. We build new rituals, not to escape, but to connect, to heal, to finally see each other. So as the sun rises over another day, another headline, another viral chase, ask yourself, what story are you helping to write? Are you a bystander, a participant, or a healer? What would it look like to break the pattern for yourself, for your family, for the world? Just like high-stakes escapes follow a secret blueprint, building strong habits starts with having the right guide. When routines break down and distraction takes over, it's easy to feel like you're losing control, just like the chaos we've seen play out on screen. That's where the Unleashing the Power of Self-Discipline worksheet comes in. It helps you turn vague intentions into simple, daily steps, so you can break the cycle of procrastination, rebuild momentum, and actually see your progress. You'll find guided reflections, real-life examples, and a clear tracking system. No overwhelm, just small wins. So if today's story left your mind spinning, scroll down, click the link below, and download your copy. It's time to reclaim your day one mindful habit at a time.